Snow fell like static across the Afghan mountains as 8 Navy SEALs pressed against frozen rock, ammunition running dangerously low. Commander Jake Miller whispered to his men, "This is it. It's over." Taliban fighters shouted through the wind, "Americans, surrender now." Then it came, crack. A single rifle shot from the opposite ridge. An enemy fighter dropped instantly. Another shot, impossibly precise. Who was pulling that trigger? And why had Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the quiet medic they dismissed as fragile cargo, just assembled a sniper rifle with the fluid precision of America's deadliest assassin? Dr. Elena Rodriguez adjusted her medical pack straps and checked her watch. 0400 hours. The SEAL team had been moving through the Afghan mountains for 7 hours, their breath forming ice crystals in the thin air. At 34, Elena was older than most operators she accompanied, but her slight frame and thick-rimmed glasses made her nearly invisible among the hardened warriors. To the SEALs, she was just another piece of equipment they had to protect. Necessary but fragile, useful but not tactical. "Why'd they saddle us with her on this op?" Petty Officer Alex Cooper whispered, nodding toward Elena as she struggled through the snow. At 25, Cooper was eager to prove himself among elite operators. "Orders," Staff Sergeant Martinez replied. "Intel says there might be wounded civilians at the target. Someone's got to patch them up." Elena heard every word but said nothing. She learned that the best way to survive in a man's world was to make herself indispensable through competence, not confrontation. But there were moments, fleeting glimpses, when Dr. Elena Rodriguez became someone else entirely. Like when she unconsciously positioned herself with clear sight lines in 3 directions, or when she checked her M4 carbine with movements so fluid that even Martinez, a 16-year veteran, had taken notice. Before we continue, please comment below where you're watching from and don't forget to subscribe to the She Force Tales channel. From the shadows of the transport hangar, Colonel Robert Hayes watched the team's final preparations with narrowed eyes. At 70, Hayes was a relic from another era, his weathered face bearing marks of decades in classified operations. When Elena adjusted her weapon with distinctive precision, Hayes's eyes narrowed. He'd seen that movement before, in the hands of America's most lethal operators. "Your team ready, Commander?" Hayes approached Commander Jake Miller. "Yes, sir. Just waiting on final clearance." Hayes's gaze drifted toward Elena. "That's your medic?" "Yes, sir." "Dr. Rodriguez. Best trauma surgeon we could get on short notice." Hayes nodded slowly. "Keep an eye on that one." Miller frowned, but Hayes had already turned away, leaving him to wonder why a retired Special Forces colonel would take interest in an unremarkable field medic. The briefing room at Fort Carson hummed with tension. Commander Jake Miller stood before stark satellite images of mountainous terrain. "Gentlemen, this is a priority alpha extraction. Dr. Marcus Chun, nuclear physicist, taken hostage 78 hours ago. Intelligence confirms he's being held here." Miller tapped a compound nestled in mountains, 250 meters from our insertion point. The room filled with America's finest warriors studied images with clinical detachment. "Latest intel suggests 15 to 18 hostiles, standard Taliban equipment. We insert by Blackhawk at 2:30, hike 7 hours to target, extract the package." As the team dispersed, Miller noticed Colonel Hayes slip into the room. "I need a word, Commander." Hayes motioned him over, then closed the door. "Your mission profile is incomplete. You'll be taking Dr. Rodriguez as field medic." Miller frowned. "We already have a combat medic assigned. He's been reassigned." Hayes handed Miller a sealed folder. "Dr. Rodriguez's credentials. Stanford Medical School, 6 years with Doctors Without Borders in conflict zones." "This is irregular, Colonel." Hayes's expression remained unchanged. "Those are your orders. Straight from the top." Wilson knew better than to argue. "Yes, sir. One more thing, Commander. Dr. Rodriguez is to be protected at all costs, same priority as your primary package." Miller's eyebrows rose. "A medic with the same priority as a nuclear physicist? What am I missing here, Colonel?" Hayes's weathered face revealed nothing. "Just follow your orders and keep that woman alive." Bosnia, 2001. The night sky over Sarajevo glowed orange from artillery shells. In an abandoned apartment building, a figure lay motionless behind a sniper rifle. Elena Rodriguez, 23 years old, breathed with practiced rhythm, her eye never leaving the scope of her Chaytak M200 long-range rifle. She'd been in position for 13 hours. Her world had narrowed to the magnified view through her scope. A villa 1 kilometer away, where Viktor Petrov, Bosnia's most notorious war criminal, was expected to arrive. Wraith 7, status report. A voice whispered through her earpiece. Wraith in position, Elena replied, barely audibly. No movement at target location. This was her 7th assassination mission with the CIA's Special Activities Unit codenamed Wraith. Officially, the unit didn't exist. Elena had been recruited from basic training when her marksmanship scores broke every record. They called her 7 because she never missed. The earpiece crackled. Vehicle approaching from south. Matches target profile. Through her scope, Elena watched a black Mercedes pull into the villa's courtyard. 5 men emerged, surrounding a tall man in an expensive coat. Petrov. She sent her crosshairs on his chest, accounting for distance, wind, and bullet drop. Her finger took up trigger slack. Wraith 7, you have authorization. Take the shot. Elena exhaled half a breath and held. The world went silent. She squeezed. The rifle bucked. Through the scope, she saw Petrov stagger, but something was wrong. He'd moved at the last moment, turning to speak to a guard. Her bullet struck his shoulder instead of his heart. Chaos erupted. Petrov's men scrambled, dragging him toward the vehicle. Elena chambered another round, but Petrov was already inside the Mercedes. Wraith 7, abort mission. Your position is compromised. As if to emphasize the point, a bullet shattered the window 2 feet from her position. All units be advised. Wraith team is compromised. Multiple hostiles converging on extraction point Alpha. Elena broke down her rifle with practiced efficiency. As she moved toward the emergency exit, her earpiece erupted with frantic chatter. Her extraction team was walking into an ambush. An explosion rocked the building. Through the smoke, Elena could see her extraction team caught in devastating crossfire. For operatives she'd trained with, lived with, trusted with her life. 2 were already down. As the last member of her team fell, Elena caught a glimpse of a figure in the shadows. Petrov, his expensive coat stained with blood, looking directly at her position. Even from this distance, she could see his smile. That night, Wraith 7 died with her team. Elena Rodriguez was the only one who made it home. And Viktor Petrov swore to find the sniper who had marked him. Present day, Fort Carson. Dr. Rodriguez, front and center. Elena snapped to attention as Commander Miller strode into the medical supply room. Sir. Yes, sir, she responded neutrally. Miller studied her. You've been assigned to my team for the Chun extraction. I want to know why. Elena maintained professional demeanor. I'm a qualified combat medic with experience in high-altitude operations, sir. Bullshit. Miller stepped closer. I had a perfectly good medic until Colonel Hayes intervened. What I want to know is why a retired Special Forces colonel would take personal interest in getting you on this mission. Elena's expression revealed nothing. I couldn't say, sir. Miller circled her slowly. You know what's strange, Rodriguez? I've reviewed your file. Stanford Medical School, humanitarian work, exemplary service record. But there's a gap. 8 years where your file just says attached to Special Research Division. What exactly did you research? Advanced medical trauma protocols for special operations, sir. Miller stopped directly in front of her. I've been doing this a long time, Rodriguez. I know when someone's hiding something. Everything about you feels off. The way you move, observe, even how you pack that medical kit. That's not doctor precision. That's operator precision. Elena met his gaze without flinching. Is there a question in there, Commander? For a tense moment, they stared at each other. 2 professionals recognizing something familiar. Miller finally broke silence. My mission is to extract Dr. Chun. My responsibility is to bring my team home alive. If you compromise either objective, there will be consequences. Are we clear? Crystal clear, sir. Training exercise at 1500. Full kit. I want to see what you're made of, Doctor. After Miller left, Elena released a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. She glanced at her medical kit, at the false bottom she'd installed last night, and the disassembled components of an M24 sniper rifle hidden underneath. Some skills never truly fade. They just wait, patient as mountain snow, for the moment when they're needed again. The training course was brutal by design. Live ammunition firing overhead, explosive charges creating battlefield conditions. Through smoke and chaos, Elena moved with professional efficiency, treating simulated wounds while maintaining situational awareness. Cooper watched with growing irritation. Look at her, playing soldier like this is some game. She's doing all right, Martinez shrugged. The final phase required evacuating a wounded soldier under enemy fire. Cooper deliberately positioned himself far from Elena, leaving her to navigate alone. When simulation began, chaos erupted. Through smoke, a voice called, "Medic, man down." Elena moved instinctively toward the sound, dropping low beneath simulated gunfire. She reached the wounded mannequin, tension pneumothorax and femoral bleed, and began treatment. Suddenly, a training officer tossed a smoke grenade directly at her position. In 3 seconds, it would obscure her entirely. Without conscious thought, Elena's hand shot out, snatching the grenade mid-roll and flinging it 30 feet away into a drainage ditch. The training ground fell silent. Even officers simulating enemy fire paused, stunned by the display of reflexes and tactical awareness. What the hell was that? Cooper's jaw tightened. That wasn't a doctor move. Martinez's eyes narrowed. From his observation post, Miller exchanged glances with Hayes, who had appeared silently beside him. "Still think I'm crazy for putting her on your team?" Hayes asked quietly. Miller didn't answer immediately. Who was she really? Hayes's weathered face remained impassive. "Someone who might just save your life, Commander, if you let her." Snow fell like static across the Afghan mountains as the SEAL team pressed against frozen rock, ammunition running dangerously low. They'd walked into a trap. The compound was empty, but enemy forces had surrounded them in the canyon. Commander Miller whispered to his men, his breath forming ice crystals. "This is it. It's over." Taliban fighters shouted through the wind. "Americans surrender now." Then it came crack. A single rifle shot echoed from the opposite ridge. An enemy fighter dropped instantly, blood staining white snow crimson. Another shot, impossibly precise. Cooper stared in amazement as Elena Rodriguez, the quiet medic they dismissed as fragile cargo, worked the bolt of an M24 sniper rifle with fluid precision that spoke of years of training. "Who the hell are you?" Cooper breathed. Elena's voice was calm, professional. "Wraith 7, and we're getting out of here." Over the next hour, Elena systematically eliminated threats with surgical precision, each shot perfectly calculated. When the last enemy fighter fell, she began breaking down her rifle with the same methodical efficiency she used for medical procedures. Miller approached, his expression mixing awe and suspicion. "Dr. Rodriguez, I think we need to have a conversation." Elena looked up from cleaning her weapon. "Actually, Commander, it's former Lieutenant Elena Rodriguez, CIA Special Activities Division." "And yes, we do." As they prepared for extraction, Elena finally revealed the truth. Viktor Petrov, the war criminal she'd failed to eliminate in Bosnia, was behind Dr. Chen's kidnapping. This had never been about ransom. It was about Ree. As they boarded the extraction helicopter, Elena touched the silver medallion around her neck, her father's last gift, and thought of all those who had given everything so others could live in peace. She had found balance between her two selves, the sniper and the surgeon, the warrior and the healer. And in that balance, she had found purpose. The ghost rifle was back, and this time she wasn't hunting alone.